What are the costs to self-publish a book? That is what we will discuss in today's video. So I will primarily be giving you the costs associated with self-publishing a book from a non-fiction perspective. However, if you're into fiction, this video will still provide some insights. Usually fiction, it costs a little bit more, but not by a lot. Now, of course, self-publishing a book, it doesn't need to cost you anything if you're doing everything yourself, for example, or you're using the help of your family, because the platforms such as KDP distributes your book to Amazon. They're free to use. However, in this video, we'll discuss the different pricing of different components, such as writing the book if you don't have the manuscript written already, editing, book formatting, the cover creation, etc. And I will also aim to give you some insights and tips that I've picked up along the way of publishing now for over 8 years. So the first thing we want to look at is hiring a ghostwriter. Depending on the quality that you want, I think you can get good quality for nonfiction books for between $20 to $30 per 1,000 words. So for a 30,000 word manuscript, that will end up being around 100 to 200 pages, depending on how many illustrations you have. That will cost between $600 to $900. Now, of course, you can pay more, probably get more quality. However, paying more doesn't always equal higher quality, so you need to keep that in mind. I have different tips and tricks that I use to assess whether or not the quality is actually higher of a specific freelancer, for example. When it comes to editing, you have different types of editing. So you have developmental editing, where the focus is on structure, content, and overall message. If you're doing fiction, then the editor will look at the story. So line editing, it enhances sentence and paragraph clarity and flow. And then you have copy editing, which is focused on grammar, spelling, punctuation, and consistency checks. One thing I advise is when you hire your editor is to ask what will they do. Will they do developmental editing? And will they do proofreading? There are, of course, different softwares that you can use, and I think it's wise to ask if your editor are using those as well as a final check. They shouldn't be only going through the manuscript with the software such as Grammarly, because then you can do that yourself. However, it's good that they are doing that as a final check to ensure that there aren't any errors. I've also tested when I'm sending messages, for example, I sometimes paste the text into ChatGPT, and I found that it can do a good job of cleaning up my message as well. So if we look at a platform such as the Urban Writers, we can see here what they charge for editing. So they charge $21 per 1,000 words for essential editing, and then all the way up to $28 per 1,000 words for developmental editing. So that is between $600 to almost $900. I think you can find an editor for the same quality and that will do it for less if you go via Upwork. However, it is the good thing about a platform such as the Urban Writers is that they will vet the freelancers beforehand, and you'll be able to look at what the other clients have said about the editor, but also what the platform thinks about the editor. But on Upwork, you can also see reviews from the clients and see if they might be someone that you want to work with. So I pay for my editor around $330 per 30,000 word manuscript. So that is around $1 per 1,000 words. So next, do you have illustrations in your book? For example, are you writing a children's book? If you're not, then this is not relevant to you, but I pay my designer around $1,000 to $1,500 per children's book. Now you can pay a lot less depending on the types of illustrations. For example, if they're simpler designs. I looked into AI, but I didn't get a good result when I tried it, but I think there are many publishers that are using AI for their children's books. But I had an issue with the consistency and overall quality, so I'm not one to speak about using AI when it comes to illustrations, but $1,000 to $1,500 is what I personally pay when it comes to one children's book. So next, let's look at the book cover. You can do the book cover yourself. For example, you can use the KDP cover creator tool, which is free to use, or you can use, for example, Canva or other softwares. However, I would strongly advise against making your own book cover if you're not a professional designer, because if you spent all this time and potentially money to create the manuscript, you don't want the book cover to be the reason that people aren't clicking or buying the book, because people do judge a book by its cover. Many years ago, I used Fiverr to create book covers. So let's take a look at Fiverr. Here we have people that are willing to do it for as little as $5 per cover, and I think that probably the more you pay, the higher quality you will get. So you get to see different examples of book covers here. My preferred route is to use 99 Design, and here you can start a cover contest for $200, and then you get many different designers that will provide their cover designs, and then you can provide feedback as the contest progresses, and then ultimately pick the cover design that you like the best. And then if you want to work for more books with that winning designer, then you can choose to do so and most likely be able to negotiate a lower price per book cover. So this is a fun process. This is something I advise you check out if you have a little bit more to invest in your book cover. So next, let's discuss the formatting of the manuscript. And this is something that doesn't need to cost you anything if you're willing to learn how to do it yourself. There are many tutorials online on how to do it. When I got started, I did ebook formatting and paperback formatting for many years, and now, because I've done it myself and I know what's involved, I wouldn't pay more than $20 per ebook formatting and $50 per paperback formatting. However, maybe I'm a little bit biased because I know how to do it myself, but I think that those prices are reasonable. You get good quality. If you want even more quality, then yes, you probably need to pay a little bit more. But one pro tip that I have for you is to give an example to the formatter that you're thinking of hiring and ask if they can do a similar or use the same style for your book formatting. So now we've covered the main costs associated with self-publishing a book. Now, if you want to have your own ISBN, for example, then that will cost you $125 per ISBN. Or if you're thinking of publishing more than one book, then you can buy 10 ISBNs for $295 on my identifiers. Having an ISBN is not necessary, as if you publish through KDP, you can have a free ISBN assigned to your book. And besides that, maybe you want to do advertising for your book. And the good thing about advertising on, for example, Amazon, is that you only pay per click. So you pay when people are clicking on a book. So to say that this will have a fixed cost, it's very hard. And usually when you pay for the advertising, you will also get sales at the same time. And you want the cost for the advertising to be made up by the sales. So the sales of the book should pay for the advertising, and hopefully you will also make a profit. But either way, if you're running ads, then that will also help you to get more organic sales. So running ads is worth the investment, but it's not something that's necessary if you simply want to give out your book for as low cost as possible. And then you might want to create an audiobook from your manuscript. Usually I pay between $75 to $100 per finished hour. So if we have a 30,000 word manuscript, that will end up being around 3 hours or more, 3 to 4 hours. So typically between $300 to $400 is reasonable. If you plan on publishing a lot of books, then you can most likely negotiate with your narrators and say that you will provide a lot of work for them. Can we do it at a lower cost? But what I found is that you can find good narrators for around $100 per finished hour. So in conclusion, you can self-publish your book for less than $1,000, less than $500, less than $100. It all depends on how much you do yourself, or if you have your family and friends help you, or how much you're willing to pay. So usually the higher you pay, the higher the quality, but that is not always the case. I've hired 500 plus freelancers and I've seen patterns that is not always true. So it can depend on the different stages that the freelancer is in. For example, if they are a student but they're very talented, then you might be able to get away with paying less. Or if you're working directly with the freelancers, as we discussed, then you can most likely negotiate a lower price. And if you have several manuscripts or books that will be created and you can provide more long-term work, then you can also negotiate down the price. If you go with a platform, the price will be a little bit higher because the platform wants its fee. And the benefit of using a platform is that you have the freelancers already vetted by the company. So hopefully this video answered your question on what it costs to self-publish a book. If you have any additional questions, drop a comment down below and join the free community on Skool if you want more support or resources. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.